Internet of Things is very common these days. There are various devices that sends us various telemetry. Temperature, humidity, pressure, we can go on and on. Microsoft Azure provides us a platform called IoT Hub. In this video, I will demonstrate how we can use IoT Hub, Event Grid, and Logic Apps to build an end-to-end solution. My name is Dinusha Kumar Siri, and I warmly welcome you to this video. Let's talk about IoT Hub. IoT Hub is designed to facilitate two-way communication between your devices and backend. Two-way communication is the key here. Let's say that you have around 100 devices in a building and you need to patch them. We can use IoT Hub to push updates to those devices. That's enough for the theory. Let's directly jump into the demo. Let's define our scenario. Let's say that we have an IoT device which transmits temperature information. Those information need to be collected by a backend processor. Upon reaching a specific threshold, I need to alert certain recipients using email. How can we easily achieve the above requirement? First, we will create an IoT Hub instance and a virtual device to represent the IoT device. Then, we will create an event subscription with event grid and trigger whenever a new telemetry data is captured by IoT Hub. After you create a subscription, event grid will listen to any event related to subscribed resource and pass that event to an event handler. Event handlers can be webhooks, functions, and many more. In this scenario, the source is IoT Hub. Finally, using a webhook, we will connect to a logic app. Using logic apps, we can construct workflows with various actions and conditions. Then logic app will do the processing. Let's create our IoT Hub. I will click on IoT Hub section here and it will load in few seconds. I will create a new IoT Hub. I will name it as first I will select our resource group. I will name it as 01 and I will create it. It will take a few minutes to create and provision the IoT Hub. Perfect. It is created now. Let's go inside our resource. Right. It will first show an overview. And one important thing is that we have a daily messages quota of this amount. Then I will go to the devices section and we will create our virtual device. I will click on add device. I will type. That's all. Then we'll save the device. Right. Let's go inside to our device. It will display some important information like the connection history. So this will be the most important one. So we will use this connection string in order to connect with our real device. So this will map our real device with our virtual device here. So I will copy it. And since I don't have a real device at the moment, I will use Raspberry Pi Azure IoT Web Simulator. So this is a free tool. You can also try with this. And in here, there's a section called connection string. I will paste the connection string we have just copied. Okay. Then we will try to run. Perfect. Is sending messages. Let me stop this. So how can we ensure that we are receiving alerts? There's an easy way. So what you can do is you can go here. There are so many ways. I'm using the Cloud Shell. So I will open the Cloud Shell. I will connect to the monitor in order to see this. So first I will put the add-in. I will click AC and name. I think I already have it. Then I will monitor my IoT hub. AC IoT hub. Our hub name is so 01. So I have now connected to the monitor. Let's create the feed again. So I will click run. Now I am sending telemetry data again. Here I can see some packets are receiving at this end. So that's how we connect a device to an IoT hub. Now we have created our IoT hub and we have created a device as well. Let's see how we can create a subscription which triggers whenever I get telemetry information, right? So to do that, I will click on events. And event subscription. Here I will put a name. I will use event grid schema and my topic type is IoT hub and our source is already selected. Then I will put topic and in here I will select only the telemetry information. So I will deselect all others and select only device select. So this will be triggered only when I get temperature information. Right? And for the event endpoint type, I will use web. Remember, we will be using a logic gap. So we will use webhook and provide an HTTP endpoint address here. So what would be our subscriber endpoint? So we will get it when we create our logic gap. Let's create our logic gap. Click on logic gaps and click on add. We will select the resource group, then admin. And here it will be consumption. It will take a little time to provision our application. Now it loads our designer window. So what should we select as our template? Remember, in event grid scenario we have discussed, we are using a webhook, right? So we need a HTTP address URL in order to post our information. So we will select HTTP request response. Right. So in here, see that's the URL. which is generated after we click on save, and we have to input a request body JSON scheme. So where can we find it? You can always go to the documentation. In this documentation, it has a schema for different types of workloads, right? Different payloads. So this is telemetry schema. So we can use that. Okay. And I will use sample payload here and click on done. Right. So why don't we try this out once without completing our other area? So we will save it. Our logic gap is saved. It will generate the URL. It will copy that URL. And in previous step that we had stopped, we will put our URL here. See, click on create. So this will create our event subscription as well. Take a little time. Perfect. Our subscription also created now. Now what we can do is we can try out with our simulator. Now we have some runs in our logic app, so the trigger had worked. Let me stop Raspberry Pi simulator. Okay, let me go in one run and see what is our payload. Select the raw output. This would be a sample host body. Yeah, so we have inside our body, we have another parameter called body, which has a base 64 encoded value. Let's get that. And get some sample decoder and decode. So here we get our most important message. So it had device ID, temperature, and humidity. So we need to get this field, right? Okay. Again, we will go to the logic app. Now we have to construct our workflow. Let's go to logic app designer. We need to initialize few variables. First, we will initialize a variable in order to get the first item of our array. Remember, in our according to our format, JSON format, first we will get it as an array. So we need to get the first element of that array and convert it into a JSON body. Initialize variable. Array body. First we have initialize the variable. Initialize. This is my first part of the workflow. Then we will get the first item of that array. Variable. It's not simple. It's also initialize variable. We have to get first item here. Then we will pass the JSON. And for this, we will get the, inside the body. Whatever the items inside the body, we will put it in here. Generate the payload. And then again, we will create another. Remember, our body value is encoded, right? So we need to decode it. So in order to get that done, we have to first initialize that values as well. Initialize variable. Remember, it was also inside a parameter called string called body. We will get value, initialize this space 64. Right. What else we need to do? We need another variable to host the decoded telemetry parameter. We don't have a value at the moment. Initialize. All right. Now we need to decode that value. We will use again, this time we will use set variable, because previously we have initialized the telemetry variable. I need to decode, right? So, remember that our telemetry string is also a JSON, right? It is also a in here. That is also a kind of a JSON. I need to pass that as well. So I will put another pass JSON. And it's telling me. I will use this one as example and me. Output. So I will copy it. Done. Right. Right. That's it so far. So what we can do is I will save it. And let's see whether we have succeeded so far. Let's go to the app overview. Let me start our simulator one time. Now it is sending information to my IoT hub, which is picked by my event grid and then pass it to my logic. Let's see if there are any successful run scan. Oh, so it's running perfect. Let's go inside. So far, it had succeeded. See the output. Perfect. It had so far it managed to pass this level, so it had passed our JSON body. So I have a temperature field which is 28. Let's move to the last item of our exercise, where we need to put a branch, put a condition, and upon reaching a threshold, we have to send an alert. Right. Let's do this again. I will go to the logic designer. We create a condition. Condition. I can easily get my temperature value here. It is already there, so I can put temperature is greater than. I can put some value. But in the true section, I mean, whenever it had reached 25, I want to send an email. For this Gmail or something. This Gmail. In the email. Once the email activity is added, I will change the body. So I can easily get the temperature value from my JSON and I will construct the body. After that, I will initiate my Raspberry Pi device. I will run this again. Then I will get a temperature alert. Okay, let's review what we have learned. First, we created an IoT hub and created a device. Then we have created an event subscription with the event grid. Later, we have created a webhook endpoint, connect it to our logic app. Then within the workflow, we have extracted the telemetry information and decoded it from base64 to normal string. And finally, we have sent an email using Gmail service. So thank you everyone for joining this video. I hope you guys have learned something from this.